Have you ever left a conversation feeling like something was just off? Like the words were polite, the smile was there, but the energy felt cold, almost hostile. You shrugged it off, told yourself you were being too sensitive, but deep down, something didn't feel right. What if I told you? You weren't imagining it? The truth is, the people who secretly hate you don't always shout it. They don't always argue or walk away. No, sometimes they stay close. They smile, laugh, ask how you're doing, while quietly hoping you fail. They drain your energy, plant doubt in your mind, and chip away at your peace, one subtle jab at a time. And here's the hardest part. It's often the people you trust most. In this video, I'm going to reveal 8 undeniable signs that someone around you secretly hates you, even if they say otherwise. Some signs are hidden in fake kindness, others buried in silence. But once you see them, you'll never unsee them. And at the end, I'll share one game-changing mindset shift that can protect your peace and restore your trust in yourself. So, are you ready to find out what's really going on behind those smiles? Let's begin. Sign 1, they smile, but their eyes don't. Some of the most painful lies are told with a smile. You've seen it before. Someone grins, says all the right things, but their eyes say something else entirely. There's no warmth, no light, no connection, just a hollow, distant stare. It feels wrong, but you can't quite explain why. So, you ignore it. Again, but here's the truth. The eyes never lie. Let me tell you about Lena. She was always polite, friendly, the kind of person who said good morning with a bright smile at work. But there was this one coworker, Jen. Jen smiled too, but every time Lena looked at her, the energy felt cold. Jen's eyes didn't match her mouth. They were still hard. Sometimes they'd avoid eye contact completely. Other times, there was something in them that felt off. Not anger, not sadness, something darker. Lena couldn't shake the feeling. And eventually, she found out Jen had been subtly undermining her behind the scenes, talking behind her back, downplaying her work. The smile was just a cover. The eyes were the truth. This is one of the first and often most confusing signs of hidden hatred. Emotional dissonance. The smile is just a social reflex, but the eyes, those are connected to the subconscious. And when someone harbors resentment, jealousy, or hatred, it shows up in micro-expressions they can't always control. They might smile, but their eyes look past you, not at you. Their pupils don't dilate. There's no emotional engagement. The corners of their eyes don't crinkle, which is what happens in genuine smiles. Or worse, their gaze feels sharp, like a quiet rejection. You'll feel it before you can prove it, and that's what makes it so tricky. This behavior can be especially painful when it comes from someone close, a friend, a sibling, even a partner. When the person you want to trust offers you a smile, but their energy feels wrong, it creates emotional confusion. You start questioning your instincts. You gaslight yourself. Maybe I'm overthinking it. You're not. A soulless smile is a mask, one meant to keep you close while slowly eroding your self-trust. It's like hugging someone who's secretly holding a knife behind their back. Politeness isn't proof of love. Connection is. So next time you feel that strange chill when someone smiles at you, pay attention to their eyes. Not their words, not their tone, just their eyes. Are they truly seeing you, or just performing? If you've ever felt that kind of disconnect, that eerie moment when a smile feels wrong, comment, "Seen it." You're not alone. Now. What happens when they stop showing up altogether? Not with anger, just quiet, endless excuses. Let's talk about that in the next sign. Sign 2. They always find excuses to avoid you. Hatred isn't always loud. Sometimes it just fades out. No screaming, no big betrayal, just a slow disappearance. A growing silence where connection used to be. You ask someone to meet up, and They're busy. You check in again, and now they're overwhelmed. A third time, they forgot to reply. At first, it feels like life getting in the way. Everyone's busy, right? But over time, you realize it's always you doing the reaching, always you making the effort, and always them pulling away, one polite excuse at a time. Let's talk about Jason and Mark. Jason and Mark used to grab coffee every Friday after work. It was their thing. They'd vent about their week, swap stories, laugh about the ridiculousness of office life. But after a minor disagreement, nothing major, Mark stopped showing up. One Friday turned into 2, then 4. Jason would text, "Coffee later?" Mark would reply, "Sorry man, swamped today," or "Can't, something came up." After a few months, Jason stopped asking. That's the thing with people who secretly hate you. They rarely confront. Instead, they withdraw quietly, using excuses as emotional camouflage. It's a way of rejecting you without the discomfort of saying so directly. And it's deeply confusing because, on the surface, they're being polite. But their pattern says otherwise. You'll notice they always cancel plans but still post on social media. They say we should catch up soon, but never follow through. They stop initiating, stop checking in, stop making time. This isn't about being busy, it's about being unavailable to you. Avoidance is emotional self-protection. When someone harbors resentment or dislike, they subconsciously remove themselves from your space. They don't want to share time, energy, or vulnerability with someone they secretly dislike. But they also don't want to look like the bad guy. So, instead, they just keep dodging you. Nicely, over time, this kind of behavior creates a silent wound. You start wondering, what did I do? Was it something I said? Am I just not worth their time anymore? And the worst part? They'll still be friendly in group settings. They'll smile at you, laugh at your jokes, but one-on-one? Radio silence. If you feel like someone is consistently backing away, not once, but repeatedly, believe the pattern. Avoidance is a message. You're being emotionally phased out. If you've ever been slowly ghosted by someone you thought cared, comment faded. It's okay to grieve that, and if that wasn't enough, wait until you see what happens when success comes your way, and they never clap for it. That's next. Sign 3, they never celebrate your achievements. Not everyone clapping for you is happy for you, and some people won't clap at all, no matter how hard you've worked. When someone secretly hates you, your success feels like a threat to them. It reminds them of their own insecurities, their failures, their stuck places. So instead of cheering you on, they shrink your victories down until they barely feel like victories at all. Let me tell you about Sasha. She'd been working for years to land a role in her dream company. After countless interviews, rejections, and late nights, she finally got it, a senior creative position at one of the top firms in her city. She was glowing when she told her friend, Nina. Nina just blinked. "Oh, that's nice. Must be a lot of pressure, though." Then she changed the subject. No congratulations, no excitement, just a flicker of jealousy hidden under fake calm. And over the next few months, Nina kept minimizing Sasha's work. "Sounds fun, but I bet they overwork you." "Well, I guess someone had to hire you." This is a classic sign of hidden resentment, emotional discrediting. Instead of celebrating your growth, these people feel compelled to mute it. They ignore your news altogether, downplay your success with backhanded comments, quickly change the topic, or worse, make your win about them. "Well, I was going to apply there too." And over time, this chips away at your joy. You start second-guessing whether your achievement was even that meaningful. You start shrinking in your own life just to avoid their cold reaction, but you shouldn't have to dim your light to make someone else comfortable. This kind of behavior is especially painful when it comes from someone close, a best friend, a sibling, even a parent. You want to believe they're happy for you. You want to share your wins. But every time you do, you're met with silence, sarcasm, or a subtle eye roll. You deserve better than that, because real friends, real allies, celebrate you out loud. They lift you up. They scream your name in rooms you're not in. They don't view your success as a threat. They see it as inspiration. So if someone in your life constantly minimizes, ignores, or redirects your moments of growth, pay attention. That's not love. That's latent hostility, camouflaged in polite apathy. If you've ever achieved something big and felt strangely alone afterward, comment, "Quiet win." Your success still matters, even if they refuse to see it. But their silence isn't the only weapon. Sometimes it's what they refuse to hear that hurts the most. Let's talk about that in the next sign. Sign 4. They deliberately ignore you. There's a kind of rejection that doesn't use words. It uses silence. And that silence can be deafening. When someone secretly hates you, they might not lash out. They won't always argue or insult you directly. Instead, they do something much colder, much sharper. They act like you don't exist. This is more than being distracted or busy. It's deliberate emotional invisibility. They don't respond to your messages. They don't acknowledge your presence in a room. They exclude you from conversations, like you're not even there. And the worst part? Everyone else might still see them as nice, polite, professional. But to you, it's like you're talking into a void. Let me introduce Troy. Troy worked hard to be part of his project team. He had ideas, energy, and a real passion for the work. But there was one team lead, Claire, who never acknowledged him. He'd share thoughts in meetings, and she'd respond to everyone but him. He emailed suggestions, no reply. He'd walk into the room, and she'd greet everyone except him. It wasn't overtly hostile. She never said anything mean. She just erased him. This form of emotional cruelty is subtle, but powerful. Because it doesn't just ignore what you say, it questions whether you matter at all. You'll know it's deliberate when they respond to others in the same setting, but not you. They consistently forget to include you. They pretend not to hear you. They speak around you as if you're invisible. And you start internalizing that silence. You wonder, am I being too sensitive? Did I do something wrong? Why does it feel like I'm not even here? Here's the truth. Being ignored intentionally is a form of control. It's meant to keep you off balance, unsure of your place. It's psychological warfare dressed up as disinterest. It's their way of saying, you don't matter, without saying a word. This tactic is especially common in environments where direct confrontation isn't allowed, in workplaces, in family gatherings, in group dynamics where they can maintain their image while punishing you quietly. But you deserve to be acknowledged. You deserve presence, not just politeness. And if someone constantly chooses to ignore you, they've already chosen to disrespect you. If you've ever felt invisible around someone who used to care, or should have cared, comment, "Felt unseen." Your presence matters even if they pretend otherwise, but here's where it gets trickier. What happens when they do talk to you, but their words feel like little knives wrapped in lace? That's next. Sign 5, they compliment you sarcastically. Sarcasm is a smile with a knife behind it. When someone secretly hates you, they rarely come at you directly. That would make them look bad. Instead, they hide their contempt in something that sounds like a compliment, but feels like a cut. Let's talk about Rhea. She worked up the courage to show her artwork at a small local gallery. It was a big step, putting herself out there, opening her heart to the world. Afterward, her cousin walked up, glanced at the canvas, and said, "Wow." Picasso would be so threatened. He laughed. She didn't. On the surface, it was a joke, a compliment even. But Rhea knew the tone, the expression, the subtle edge in his voice. It wasn't support, it was mockery. This is how sarcasm works. As a weapon, it dresses up contempt and humor. It makes you feel silly for being hurt. And it gives the other person plausible deniability. Relax, I was just joking. But you can feel the difference. Real compliments land with warmth. Sarcastic ones leave you confused, defensive, and a little smaller. Here's what sarcastic hate sounds like. Wow, look at you actually doing something. with your life. Didn't know you were into that kind of fashion. Bold choice. Oh, you're going to the gym now? Cute. It's the tone, the timing, the way they say it around others just to get a laugh at your expense. And if you call them out, they flip it. Why are you so sensitive? Or I was being nice, geez. But deep down, you know better. This kind of subtle psychological jab is not a joke. It's control. It's meant to knock you off your center, make you second-guess your self-worth, and keep you from standing fully in your confidence. Sarcasm in this context isn't humor, it's hostility. And when it comes from someone close, it's devastating. Because the very people who should lift you up are the ones quietly trying to bring you down. It creates an emotional loop where every compliment feels loaded, where every bit of praise feels like it might explode. And over time, you start withholding your light to avoid becoming a target. But you deserve better than that. If you've ever been complimented in a way that made you feel worse, comment, "Heard it." You're not imagining it. That wasn't kindness, it was control. And as these little jabs pile up, they often lead to something more constant, more subtle, and far more exhausting, endless, baseless criticism. That's what we're uncovering next. Sign 6. Constant criticism without foundation. There's a kind of criticism that doesn't help you grow. It's not feedback. It's not concern. It's corrosion. When someone secretly hates you, one of the most common tactics they'll use is constant, baseless criticism. At first, it might sound helpful. Just trying to be honest. I'm saying this because I care. But soon, you start noticing a pattern. Nothing you do is ever good enough. Not your choices, not your efforts, not even the way you speak, or walk, or eat. Let me introduce Dev. Dev enjoyed cooking. It was his stress relief, his joy. One night, he made dinner for his roommate, Colin. Pasta with homemade sauce, candles, even a playlist. Colin sat down, took a bite, and said, "Not bad, just too much salt." "And this plate? Really? Feels like a kid's birthday party." No thank you, no appreciation. Just passive-aggressive nitpicks. Dev shrugged it off, but it didn't stop. Next week, Colin critiqued his music, then his laundry routine, then his new shirt. No matter what Dev did, there was always a dig, a comment, a suggestion laced with superiority. That's when Dev realized this wasn't about helping. It was about control. This kind of criticism lacks clear purpose or solutions, comes frequently even about trivial things, makes you feel judged, not supported, leaves you second-guessing even your smallest decisions. You start asking yourself, did I really mess that up? Am I always this annoying? Why can't I get anything right around them? And that's exactly what they want. People who secretly hate you hide behind helpfulness to tear you down. They know if they insult you directly, it's obvious, but if they offer advice or say, "I'm just being real," they can cut deep without accountability. Over time, their voice becomes your inner critic. You start anticipating their negativity before you've even done anything. You censor yourself, you lose confidence. That's not by accident. Their goal isn't to help you grow, it's to keep you small. This kind of emotional erosion is subtle, but powerful. It wears you down slowly like water dripping on stone, until you start to believe that maybe they're right, maybe you are just not enough. But here's the truth. Healthy criticism helps you rise. Toxic criticism keeps you doubting. If you've ever felt like someone's constant feedback was really just disguised hate, comment too much. You're not alone in that. And if they can't get to you through critique, they might shift tactics by comparing you to someone they believe is better. Let's talk about that next. Sign 7. They constantly compare you to others. Comparison. It's supposed to be harmless, motivating even. But when it's constant and always to your disadvantage, it becomes a weapon. People who secretly hate you won't always insult you directly. Instead, they'll chip away at your confidence by constantly holding someone else up as the better version of you. Someone smarter, funnier, more attractive, more successful. and they'll make sure you notice the gap over and over again. Let's talk about Jen. Jen had always struggled with confidence, especially around her family. Every time she shared something like passing a big exam or organizing a community event, her mom would smile politely and then say, "That's great. You know, your cousin Maria did something similar, but she also got a scholarship, and she's volunteering overseas now. Maybe you two could talk." At first, Jen tried to take it as encouragement, but it never stopped. Maria was always the model. Jen was always the shadow. This kind of comparison isn't about helping you grow. It's about making you feel small. Here's how it shows up. They bring up someone else right after you talk about an achievement. They say things like, "You know who's really doing well?" right after you share a win. They suggest you copy someone else's style, habits, or choices. Or they say, "I just think you could be more like," and finish with a name that stings. This isn't admiration. It's degradation in disguise, and it's especially hurtful because it's hard to confront. If you say, "That made me feel bad," they'll reply, "I was just trying to help," or "Why are you being so insecure?" But constant comparison doesn't uplift, it undermines. It tells you, you're not good enough on your own. The emotional toll? You begin to internalize the belief that who you are as you are is never quite right, never quite enough, and that's the intention, whether conscious or not. Someone who secretly resents you often can't stand your light. So they dim it by pointing towards someone they think shines brighter. But here's the truth. You are not meant to be anyone else. You're not a draft of a better version. You are the only version. If someone in your life constantly uses comparison as a form of motivation, but it always makes you feel worse, they're not pushing you forward. They're pulling you down. If you've ever felt invisible in the shadow of someone else's name, comment, "Tired of the comparison." You deserve to be valued for who you are, not who you're not. And when comparisons don't sting enough, they may start going for your deepest vulnerabilities, your weaknesses. Let's talk about that next. Sign 8. They mock your weaknesses. Everyone has soft spots, insecurities, fears, flaws, things we're working on, things we wish didn't define us. And when someone truly cares, they treat those places with tenderness. But when someone secretly hates you, they treat them like punchlines. Mocking your weaknesses isn't just insensitive, it's strategic. It's designed to humiliate you while hiding behind "just joking." And it's one of the clearest signs that someone doesn't respect you, doesn't value you, and may even enjoy your pain. Let's talk about Leo. Leo had a stutter growing up. It was something he managed with therapy and practice, but under stress, it still showed up. Most of his friends were supportive, gentle, patient. But one guy in his circle, Brad, would imitate Leo when he was nervous, especially in front of others. "Hey, LL Leo," he'd say, smirking. "Nervous man?" People would laugh awkwardly. Leo would smile to hide his embarrassment. And later, he'd sit in silence, wondering why he still allowed that person in his life. This is what mocking does. It dresses cruelty up as humor. And it isolates you, especially when no one calls it out. Here's how this behavior often shows up. They tease you about things you've openly said you're sensitive about. They wait until others are around to do it, so there's an audience. When confronted, they say, "It's just a joke, lighten up." And worst of all, they do it repeatedly, and the emotional impact is huge. Because they're not just mocking a moment, they're mocking something you've struggled with deeply. This kind of behavior chips away at your self-esteem. It makes you hesitant to open up again. It teaches you that vulnerability is dangerous, that it will be used against you if you're not careful. But here's what's really happening. Someone who mocks your weaknesses isn't strong. They're insecure. They feel better when you feel worse, more in control, more important. And that's not friendship, that's manipulation. No one who truly supports you will ever weaponize your wounds. They'll protect them, hold space for them, help you heal them. So if someone in your life constantly pokes at the parts of you that hurt the most, they're not joking, they're aiming. If you've ever laughed along with someone mocking your pain just to keep the peace, comment, "Not funny." You deserved protection, not performance. And when people stop protecting you, it's especially clear during your lowest moments. Because those who secretly hate you will vanish when you need them most. Now, something changes. Because you've seen the signs, you've named them. And that means it's time to shift the focus from them to you. What can you do about all this? How do you protect your peace, your energy, your self-worth? Let's finish with the one insight that changes everything. You've seen the signs. You've felt the sting. And maybe, just maybe, you've realized someone in your life has been hiding their hatred in plain sight. That smile that didn't reach their eyes. The praise that left you doubting yourself. The silence when you needed support the most. It wasn't all in your head, it was real. But here's the most important truth I can leave you with. You are not too sensitive. You are not dramatic. You are finally paying attention. Most people who've been quietly hurt over and over again learn to downplay their intuition. They tell themselves, it's probably nothing. But now, you've named it. You've seen the pattern. And that means you get to choose differently. You don't have to stay close to people who smile at you while quietly hoping you fall. You don't owe loyalty to those who make your soul shrink. You don't need to explain your boundaries to people who never respected them. Here's the shift I promised you at the beginning. Stop giving your energy to people who make you question your value. Start giving it to those who make you feel safe, seen, and celebrated. Your peace is not too much. Your joy is not something to be managed. Your success is not a threat. It's a gift. So if this video opened your eyes, do one thing for yourself. Today, reclaim your energy. Whether that means stepping back, cutting ties, or simply trusting your gut again, it matters. You deserve relationships that don't make you shrink. You deserve love that doesn't come with confusion. And you deserve to feel emotionally safe in your own story. Comment peace below if you're choosing to protect your energy starting now, or share this video with someone who needs to know they're not alone. And if this resonated with you, don't stop here. In the next video, we'll talk about how to rebuild trust, not just with others, but with yourself. Because healing doesn't end with awareness. It begins there. You've got this. Stay strong, stay clear, and most of all, stay true to yourself.